everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Ella. Come on in, this video is going to be a chatty one. I think it's going to be the first in what I plan to be a series of videos, all to do with the process of us deciding to move out of London to the seaside. Us as in me and my partner, who I currently live with in North London. This video is going to be mostly focusing on why we decided to move, how this whole thing came about, and my whole thought process behind it, basically. Following on from this, I am going to do videos of flat viewings in both Margate and Folkestone, viewing two of our favourite properties, going through the process of putting in offers, having offers accepted, etc, etc. And then after all of that, and after I've shown you where we are actually moving, I'm going to be doing videos all about moving. So packing up and moving ourselves out of London. This will be the furthest I've ever lived out of London. I grew up just outside of London and I've been in London ever since. So just a bit of background. I'm sure a lot of you don't know me. My name is Ella, I'm 28. I am an actress, which is why I have been in London for so long. You would have spoke to Ella a year ago and she would have said, no, never will I move out of London, because acting, performing, like it's all London based, which is still very much true. But the pandemic kind of changed things for me. So I live with my boyfriend, I have done for the past 3 years. Before that, I've lived all around London, and I was in musicals about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I was focusing heavily on musical theatre and dance. And for that, being London-based is pretty essential, or being able to travel in very easily is essential, because musicals are in the West End. You finish shows at like 11 sometimes, like you need to be able to get in and out for shows. But during COVID, I kind of made a little bit of a switch, going from musical theatre and dance more into screen and TV. I'm trying. That's the goal, guys. That's what I'm trying to do. It's been going all right. And so now I find that a lot of my auditions are through self-tapes. That means I don't need to be in London as much anymore. And a lot of the times when I do get jobs, it's on set and I'm taken to set or to location in another country sometimes. And so for that, being London-based isn't essential either. So this is when it got me thinking, you know, about a year ago, I started debating with the idea of moving a little bit further out. My boyfriend Johan grew up in the south of France. I'll bring him on in the video a little bit later just to talk about his perspective of things as well. So moving out of London was never so much of a worry for him. He is also self-employed. So yeah, neither of us have a fixed place of work. Pros and cons to that, you know. But yeah, about a year ago, we started looking at potentially renting somewhere outside of London. Now, the first place we were looking at was Tunbridge Wells. We went there on a holiday and just kind of really liked it. We had an Airbnb. I went on holiday with my mum and really liked the area, had never been there before. And the transport links into London were like under an hour and very regular trains. So we started looking around there. I went to 2 flat viewings around there. I actually might put them in this video because this was a whole year ago, over a year ago. I think this was like July last year. I'll show you the viewings now. So this was a viewing that our friend actually did for us. So the recording is a little bit hectic. I think this flat is a prime example of why you really should see somewhere in person, because I can't tell you how huge this kitchen looked in the pictures, and in the video it's so small. It's lovely. I loved that cooker, but it's so much smaller than what it looked like in the video, in the pictures. So we've got kind of like an open plan feel in this one. It's a very small cottagey style. To be fair, none of our current furniture would have fit in this living room. It was teeny tiny, and that stairway took up a lot of space. The bathroom is through this door, very standard bathroom, nothing particularly special. Going into the garden, again, one of the main reasons why we wanted to move out of London was to be able to have a garden, because affording London rent with a garden, it means you're paying like at least 1,800, and we just couldn't afford that. Had 2 gates, so the neighbours could go through your garden. Wasn't a massive fan of that. Then going up the stairs, again, it's this really small, like low ceilings, cosy, cottagey feel. But in hindsight, I'm glad we didn't go for something like this. Bedrooms are fairly nice. Again, relatively small, but not too small. It's, made up to a fairly nice standard. This one was up for 1,250. That's the sort of price range we were looking for these rental properties outside of London. So this property that we viewed in Tunbridge Wells was unreal. It was just so big. Look at the size of this bathroom. The ceilings were so tall. It was up for rent for £1,200 a month. You've got this big entry hallway going round into the kitchen, which again is just the biggest kitchen I have ever seen. Can you imagine living here? It was just beautiful. It had a dishwasher, fridge was included, everything is included. Obviously, could have done with a little bit of a clean, a little bit of a spruce up, but we absolutely love this property. It came with a driveway and a garage, which, is a very rare find. Look at the size of these ceilings. Onto the bedroom, again, a really lovely size. Windows out onto the communal garden. Again, just beautiful. Now, this was about a 35-minute walk away from Tunbridge Wells station, which at the time of viewing this, we didn't have a car, but we were happy to pay this anyway. Look at this living room. Can you imagine, the potential that this living room has? It was just unreal. Johan's videoing is quite frantic here. Onto the communal garden. We did put an offer in to rent this property. We did not get it. I think someone offered to pay way more than the asking price for this, which, fair enough. So yeah, this was when we were thinking about potentially renting outside of London. We did end up putting some offers in. None of them worked out, and that is clearly for the best now. But just interesting that we kind of started trying this whole process a year ago, and there has been a lot of obstacles in our way preventing us from making the move until the right time, which is hopefully now. So after that, we kind of plodded along in our current flat, which is a beautiful flat, but our contract was up for renewal. Now, our landlady wanted to put up our rent by 25% a month, which was £215 a month increase on what we were already paying, which is too much. It was just too much. It felt like such a waste of money, just chucking so much money into rent, kind of working to pay rent. And I was a little bit sick of it. And that really spurred us on. So, we'd already had our little dipping our toes in at the idea of moving out. And then our landlady said that, and it kind of just made me go, well, we're not doing that. So now the only option is to look for somewhere else to live. So then I really got on it. I was on Rightmove every day. I love looking at Rightmove. Honestly, it's a hobby of mine. So I didn't mind that, but I was on it. So that brought us on to our next viewings. So randomly one day, I decided to go to Margate. Now, I've got family history in Margate. My nan used to live there. I grew up going to Margate in the summer, and it's really up and coming. There's a lot of money going into Margate, lots of trendy shops opening in Margate, lots of people moving out from London into Margate. It's been gentrified, and this is the sort of place that we're looking for, because I can't think of anything worse than moving to like what feels like a really small kind of backwards town. There's lots of school children, hopefully you can't hear that. So yeah, randomly one day I went down to Margate. Me and Johan both went down actually on the Sunday, and we just went for some food. It was a really nice hot sunny day, like we were absolutely loving it. We were like, yeah, could we live here? Yeah, we could probably live here. And then a couple of days later I got a house viewing or a flat viewing for a place that I thought looked really nice. So I went by myself. This time the weather was not so nice. I've actually got a video, and this was the first viewing that I had in terms of potentially buying. I'm currently in Margate, just about to view a flat. I mean, this has all happened very quickly. I'll sit down and talk to you about it later, but basically we are thinking of trying to buy. We came to Margate on Sunday when it was a really hot day, and it was so busy. It was buzzing. Not quite the same with this weather, but let's go and see if we like this flat and if we can get on the property ladder. So this ended up being my first and only flat viewing in Margate. Again, it was a 2-bed flat with a garden. At the moment of viewing, they didn't have the electricity working, so I could barely see in that room. The bathroom is totally not to my style, but, you know, a fairly good standard. Just hated the black tiles. But, you know, I was going with the impression that we could renovate and redecorate as and when we needed to, but I wanted somewhere that was livable as of now. The first bedroom is a good size. All of this flat, to be honest, was in a pretty grotty condition. The carpets needed replacing, the walls needed painting. This bedroom went out onto, or looked out onto the kind of parking area, so not very aesthetic, but it was double glazed, and this was just where like our own cars would be parked, so I felt like it was okay. Going on back into the hallway, we go into the second bedroom. Floors were okay. Second bedroom, again, a decent size. Really, really weird. It had a shower in the bedroom, but it wasn't like an ensuite style. I don't know. Very, very strange. Again, something that we would probably have taken out. Most of this flat felt very, very dark, except from this open plan living and kitchen room area. It had this kind of raised bit in the middle of it, which I felt was kind of cool at the time, but looking back, I feel like it might just be a little bit inconvenient. Very bright compared to the rest of the flat. The cupboards are in okay condition. Honestly, me and Johan prefer to not have an open plan area like this. I quite like the kitchen being separate to the living room, just because if you're watching TV and someone else is cooking, I don't know, just having it all in the same room when it's a relatively small room, I don't really like the feel of that. But again, it was a decent standard, not the sort of style that I would have chose. So it would have been quite a big job to get this to the sort of style that we would have actually liked to live in, but I could see potential. It's kind of funny, as I'm going out into the garden, I realise this door is completely broken. So I'm kind of having to like smash my way into the garden. That door needs replacing. The garden was the biggest sales point for the property, in my opinion. It was really good size. Pretty sure it was south facing once again. But I came out of this property feeling like, meh, we could buy it, but it would be quite a big job. And yeah, I definitely wasn't in love. Now, I came out of that not fully sold. Like, yeah, we could have moved there, but it wasn't like my dream flat by any means. It was, you know, a step onto the property ladder. but there was a lot of work that needed done. It was in a decent location in Margate, but I wasn't sold. That same day, I did call up for 2 other house viewings or flat viewings, and I went to Folkestone. And this is where I found my 2 favourite properties. I'm going to save those for the next video. Flashing forward another 3 or 4 weeks, I went to view some more properties in Folkestone. Basically, I'd gone to Folkestone, I'd fallen in love, and I viewed a couple of more properties. I'll insert the videos and the prices that we're asking for here. Okay, so this technically is the 3rd property we viewed in Folkestone. Bearing in mind, I viewed 2 properties that I fell in love with a couple of weeks earlier, but if you watch my next video, you'll find out what happened with them. Again, a 2-bed flat. This one was lower ground, and another prime example of why you have to go and see a property in person. I thought this property was stunning. It was made up to a really high standard, beautiful kitchen cabinets. They were like a pale pink. I'm not sure if you can see on the video. The reason why you can't properly see it on the video is because, again, it's another dark flat. It was a lower ground, but it was dark. It was dingy. It just felt, you could really feel like you were lower ground. It also kind of felt a little bit muggy in there, which didn't give me the best feeling. It didn't really have a garden. You can see here, so it's quite steep steps down into this property. This is actually the front of the property. I thought it was made out to a really nice standard. The flooring was nice. There was nothing that really needed doing to it. I just didn't like how dark it felt. You can see here it's the middle of the day and they've got the lights on because otherwise it is too dark. Going in to the 2nd bedroom, I guess you'd call this. This is the slightly smaller bedroom out of the 2. Again, nice, fine, dark, looks out technically onto the neighbours section of the teeny tiny garden that we've got of this property. The main bedroom is bloody huge. It was so big, which is really lovely, but again, just too dark. It does have doors leading out onto, I don't really even think you could call it a garden. It's more like a teeny tiny little courtyard. Not really what I was looking for in terms of outside space. As you can see, that is pretty much all there is to it. Yeah, nothing like 2 of the other gardens that we saw in Folkestone. Going on to the bathroom, it was fine, but all in all, this property was way too dark for me. I would not want to buy a property that was so dark and dingy. No thanks. Moving on to the final property that I viewed in Folkestone. This one was an entire house. The only reason I really viewed it was because the estate agents suggested I did 2 in one day, which I thought would be worth the train ticket. This looked out onto a fairly busy road, but the noise, it was so loud. This is the top floor. The current owner has it as an office. Going down the stairs, there is a utility sort of room. It's a very narrow building, kind of an odd layout. There are 3 levels, which made me feel like it was going to be really spacious, but actually it felt more cramped than any of the other properties that I'd viewed. Going into the bedroom, 2nd bedroom, I guess. Once again, all of this property is looking out onto this fairly busy road. And although it has double glazing, it was way, way too loud for me. I've already lived in a loud property once before. I will not do it again. Another thing is this didn't have a bath. It did have space to put a bath if you wanted to, but I would have wanted to move into somewhere that already has a bath. That was, again, one of my non-negotiables. I am a bath gal, so a bath is essential. I think they'd made the most of this property. It was done up to a high standard, but there's only so much you can make out of a bad location and a weird shape. The garden, again, was this sort of courtyard. It all looked out onto this really busy main road. I wouldn't want to purchase this property purely because I don't think there's much more you can do with it. And who wants to buy it? Not me. No thanks. Again, didn't love these properties, especially because I'd viewed 2 before that I had fallen in love with. These just did not compare in the slightest. And, you know, I went there trying to imagine us in these properties, in this flat. And it just, no, it wasn't going to happen. I'm going to save the 2 properties that we love for the next video. In the meantime, I'm going to bring Johan on here just to talk a little bit about his perspective and how he feels. Okay, come on. I feel like you're getting camera shy. You've definitely been on my channel before, but not like any formal sit down.
I've not been an official guest.
No, so I just thought we could see a bit from your perspective as well. Moving out of London, what's your background? How long have you been in London for? What made you want to move?
I first came to the UK in 2004, which is 19 years ago.
19?
Yeah.
Wow.
I lived in Brighton for 1 year.
Oh yeah, okay.
Came to London in 2005, and then it's been on and off for all that time. It was a mix of studying and working, and then studying again, and then going traveling. Went to like India, went to Peru, Vietnam, and went working on a cruise ship, just like Ella's done as well, and did a lot of traveling that way. So it's been a lot of back and forth between here and France as well, where my parents live. I was born in Sweden, but my parents live in France. That's where I grew up, and I've been in London on and off since 2005. So if I've been missing being closer to nature and close to countryside, because where I grew up in France, I lived.
You had everything on your
20
doorstep.
minutes from the beach and 40 minutes to the nearest ski resort. So I would go skiing in the winter and go down to the beach in the summer. Lots of forest, lots of nature in general. And London has lots of parks, but it's not the same.
No, I've never had that. Like even living outside of London, it was still pretty urban feeling environment. Like I've never had a proper countryside.
And also not having had a car here, we haven't been able to. I mean, I've not really felt the need for a car the whole time I've been in London.
No, we've got a car now.
Now we've got a car, and that makes it easier to get out, because without a car you can get trains to many places in the UK, but you can't really get around in the countryside without a car. So
the cars come at the perfect time.
So I think it feels like it's time. I've been feeling for a while that I've been
Johan's been trying to convince me for a long time about moving out. But as I've said, because of work, like I just never felt like I could, because I needed to be in London. But yeah, I will show you the properties in the next video that I fell in love with in Folkestone. You weren't even there. No. And I fell in love with Folkestone as a whole as well. You've been once, I've been twice or 3 times, so it's not even that much. And now we're buying a flat. I can't. I feel like we're kind of doing this whole thing on a whim. I think that's a bit how we do like life, though. We just go for it, and then if it doesn't work out, then you change direction. It's fine. Are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Ella's told you that we've got 2 weeks left on the deadline before this needs to be finalized, contract needs to be exchanged.
Yeah.
And our solicitor is being very slow and unhelpful.
Oh my God.
So
I'm sorry, solicitors
are
not helpful.
A little bit worrying, but we're getting there.
I'm so glad we've got Johan, because I don't know anything. I just get so confused.
We've got Johan.
I've got Johan. Well, the whole world has Johan as well in a way. But like, I just get so confused with all this paperwork, and like no one says anything in a clear way. Like everyone says everything with really big words, and I'm just not smart enough to understand any of this. So I'm glad you're here to help me with all of that.
You wrote a good email response yesterday. I was impressed.
I wrote an email to the solicitors just being like, we need way more help. I don't know what you want us to do. Like, you're the ones that know about buying properties. So hopefully in 2 weeks, so we should be moving in to a property that you have not yet seen on the 3rd of November.
A place that I've just about seen once, and a town that I've only seen briefly for like an afternoon, barely.
But it's by the sea, so
it's close to. It's a 55-minute train.
Yeah,
right
that's
to London,
one of the reasons that we really love Folkestone.
Yeah.
It's so quick into
close
London,
to sea, close to nature.
It's going to be a whole change.
Also close to France, close to get across the water and then drive down to see your
parents. Yeah.
My parents.
So that is it from this video. The next video will be viewing the 2 properties that we fell in love with in Folkestone. And then after that, we're going to move on to like moving content. Like our house is currently a mess, or our flat's currently a mess. We've got boxes everywhere.
See boxes back there.
And all of them are empty. And we've got 2 weeks. So we better get a move on with that today.
No, packing can wait.
We're going to leave it until we've got like a week and to pack up this whole flat.
Yeah.
You don't find that a bit stressful, no?
No, it'll be stressful when it happens, but for now, it's okay.
Okay. All right. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah. Bye.